لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك.
Hello and a warm welcome to Hajj, a spiritual journey on Africa's largest radio network, Radio Nigeria. On the program today,
anyone who could not pay before this date, it means he cannot participate in this year's Hajj.
National Hajj Commission of Nigeria announces deadline for payment of this year's pilgrimage.
The second day, you will pick 777. You throw 7, that is 21. The first one pillar, the middle, and the last one.
We will also bring you a step-by-step guide to Hajj. I am Abubakar Bestu, your guide. Let's begin with the NACON news summary with Muhammad Awal.
The National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, has announced the 2025 Hajj fair, with intending pilgrims from southern states expected to pay 8.7 million naira, while those from Borno and Adamawa zones will pay 8.3 million naira. The executive chairman of NACON, Professor Abdullahi Usman, made this known in a statement through the Assistant Director, Information and Publication, Fatima Usara. Professor Usman described the Hajj fair as a product of extensive collaboration with all stakeholders. The chairman urged prospective pilgrims to take note of the timeline and Saudi guidelines while emphasizing the importance of early payment and timely registration to avoid last-minute inconveniences. Meanwhile, NACON has set 31st of January 2025 as the deadline for the payment of this year's pilgrimage. Chairman of the Commission, Professor Abdullahi Usman, made this known during an interview in Abuja. Professor Abdullahi explained that the deadline was in line with the regulations and timelines set by Saudi Arabian authorities. The FCT Muslim Pilgrims Welfare Board has urged intending pilgrims to complete their payments by Thursday, the 30th of this month, to secure their participation in the 2025 Hajj. In a statement, the board's public relations officer, Muhammad Lawal Aliyu, emphasized that pilgrims who have made deposits must balance their payments before the deadline. Prospective pilgrims are also encouraged to make full payments before the cut-off date to guarantee their seats for the religious journey. Aliyu further noted that all payments to the board must be made via bank drafts, as cash transactions will not be accepted. He explained that the payment deadline is essential for finalizing the list of intending pilgrims and remitting funds to the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON. Additionally, the board revealed that negotiations with service providers in Saudi Arabia are underway to ensure adequate feeding arrangements and suitable accommodations in Mecca for pilgrims during the Hajj exercise. The Kano State Pilgrims Welfare Board has revealed that arrangements have been finalized for commencement of induction course for 2025 intending pilgrims across the 9 designated centers in the state. The Director General of the board, Alhaji Lamin Rabiu, disclosed this during a meeting with Islamic scholars who will lead induction courses at the various centers. In a statement, the board spokesman Suleiman Dederi, the DG represented by the Director of Admin and General Services, Alhaji Yusuf Mukhtar, stated that the meeting is a cornerstone for the success of the training, emphasizing the importance of the ulama's participation. In his remarks, the Director of Hajj Operations, Alhaji Muhammad Gali Muhammad, emphasized that preparations for this year's Hajj operations have officially begun. He urged the ulama in the state to intensify prayers for the successful execution of the Hajj activities. Earlier, the Director of Propagation, Education and Enlightenment, Alhaji Murtala Lawan Sani, announced the designated centers where pilgrims can attend induction courses nearest to their local government areas on weekends.
Many thanks, Awal. Now, in the past, some countries with contingents for pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia grapple with the timelines set for each pre-Hajj activity. This year's exercise, however, is not an exception, as the Saudi Arabian authorities have set 31st of January 2025 as the deadline for payment of this year's Hajj. NACON Chairman Professor Abdullah Usman explained that the deadline was solely a decision of the Saudi Arabian authorities, which all affected countries must abide with.
The deadline for payment of Hajj fare this year, 2025, is by 31st of January 2025. So anyone who could not pay before this date, it means he cannot participate in this year's Hajj. And this is not our decision. I mean, it is not the decision of the Commission. Even it is not the decision of the federal government of Nigeria. It is the decision of the government of Saudi Arabia. So we cannot do otherwise. If somebody delay to pay up to 31st of January, it means he cannot perform Hajj this year.
On strategies adapted to maintain this year's Hajj fares same as last year, Professor Usman described the development as the divine intervention of the Almighty. He said the feat was achieved as a result of engagement with airline operators and the Forum of Chairmen of State Pilgrims Welfare Boards and Commissions, as well as service providers.
Our first strategy is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the one who help us accept our prayers and give us this chance to reach this point. Also, the federal government, through the office of Vice President, played a very significant role. So Allah has made it easy for us to discuss with all relevant stakeholders, particularly airliners and service providers. We achieve all this by working hand in hand with the leadership of the State Forum. So this collectively, our strategy, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put his special help to reach this point. Alhamdulillah.
On whether the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, has received any financial assistance from anywhere, Professor Usman explained that the presidency, through the office of the vice president, was instrumental in facilitating strategic engagements with Hajj stakeholders with a view to getting waivers for some services. He also explained why the Hajj fares of Nigerian pilgrims from different parts of the country differ.
Actually, we've not received any financial support from the federal government. But the federal government has played a significant role in facilitating all the engagement and discussing with some institutions. We are also expecting waivers from some charges if approved by likely bring down the fare. So, as I said earlier, the result of the consultation with service providers, the result we get huge discount from some service providers. For example, the service provider who used to give us service in Mashair, that is Arafat, Mina, and Muzdalifah. Last year, they charged us 4,770. This year's this discussion, they bring it down to 4,000 only 50 riyals. Alhamdulillah. So you asked me about difference in Hajj fare. You see, the difference is only distance from the place to Saudi Arabia. Borno and Yola area is nearer to Saudi Arabia than Kano, Katsina, Sokoto, or just Northwest and North Central. Northwest, North Central is far away from Borno and from Saudi Arabia. If you can see, Lagos and all southern areas are farther from Saudi Arabia. So airliners charge the price according to the distance. The southern part of the country is far more than the northern part. Similarly, Maiduguri and Yola are closer to Saudi Arabia than other part of the country. This is the only reason why.
That was the chairman, National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, Professor Abdullah Usman Saleh. Now, following the recent announcement of the Hajj fares and the deadline set by Saudi Arabia for payment, some residents of the Federal Capital Territory have been reacting to the development.
The money is exorbitant. It's very high, so it will be very difficult for people to meet up with the deadline. Federal government make subsidized prices for people that are willing to go for Hajj. Last year, they subsidized their prices, but this year, I think that there was nothing like that. So it will be very difficult for people to meet up with the deadline.
I think the notice is short. Though anyone who intends to go to Hajj is not planning this year. It's something we might have planned from last year, and subsequently you'll be making progress. Be that as it may, I still feel the notice is short. Even though the decision is not coming from the federal government and the Hajj Commission, if it's coming from Saudi Arabia, I think there's always a room for negotiation. You can negotiate this, okay? But I understand from the Saudi point of view, it enables them to plan better and give good services to the intending pilgrims. But be that as it may, our situation here is peculiar. The economic situation, if you look at it on a broader note, you know that it's not going to be easy, it's not going to be feasible for us to have intending pilgrims meeting the deadline of it. So I advise the Commission and the Nigerian government on a ledger note to meet with the Saudi government and negotiate and extend the deadline. It will be better. Then the fare, I think last year the federal government subsidized, though we've not seen if there is much difference between last year and this year in terms of economy, in terms of the economy of the country. So I still feel it is high. It is high. It's somebody like me. It's something I so much desire to go and perform the right to. It's something every Muslim wants to. It's a place you want to. It's an act of worship that you so much want to do to complete your ibadat. So it's not easy, to be honest. It's not easy. There is need for transparency in the entire process. The commission needs to look inward. What are they doing wrong and what are they not doing? Sometimes it's not necessarily corruption, but poor planning and the stakeholders involved. That's that. I don't want to be pessimistic about the whole situation and be negative. And
the latest news about Hajj, this very 2025, is something just to take to look at. Because a lot of people, the price now, the way they put the price and the way they ask, say the time was very short of so it will be very important for the government to look into it in order to make this something very easier for people like me that we don't prepare fully for something. So for us to go out there to go and source for other money for us to make the trip to the holy land. So I think things need to be done very well to cope the situation.
Some Nigerians there reacting to the deadline for Hajj payments and the fares set for this year's Hajj. You are listening to Hajj, a spiritual journey, coming to you on the network service of Radio Nigeria. We will be back shortly.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
My country people, when they plan to go Saudi for Hajj, I carry Ubonge to Rikomo. You know, say National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, don't join body with Jaiz Bank and Islamic Development Bank, IDB. Take organized standard way to make it easy for you to do your animal sacrifice when they call Hadaya. Hear me well, no be by force to sacrifice, now your choice based on the kind Hajj when you they do. We advise make you follow your Islamic teacher, Ulama them talk for guidance. As you they prepare for Hajj, shine your eye, no go pay money to any vendor when no get approved, when go come they promise you cheap price. Now mago people then view, make your Hadaya payment to any Jaiz Bank when near you pass for Nigeria and collect your coupon or go pay for State Pilgrim Welfare Board where you been pay your Hajj money. This message now from the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria.
Radio Nigeria, uplifting the people and uniting the nation.
Welcome back. This is Hajj, a spiritual journey on Africa's largest radio network. We now bring you Hajj step by step.
Hajj means traveling from your various country to the Holy Land in Mecca and Madinat al-Munawwara. And that is why they always say, when it is time now, you'll be hearing the word Talbiyah. It's a sign for people to know that it is time for Hajj. And what does those things they say in Talbiyah? Labbaik Allahumma labbaik, labbaik la sharika laka labbaik, inna la hamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk, la sharika la. These are the things you'll be hearing people saying when they put on their ihram. But Hajj, the first thing that every reasonable human being who perform Hajj need to take into their mind is ihram. And what is ihram? Ihram is a state in which one is prohibited from doing certain deeds which were previously permissible. In technical terms, it implies undertaking Hajj or Umrah. Thus, ihram becomes the first pillar of Hajj and Umrah. It is marked by intent of the pilgrims to perform all rites of Hajj or Umrah, without which is Hajj or Umrah are deemed incorrect. So in a sound hadith, actions are but intention. Majority of us that perform Hajj in Nigeria, we perform Hajj that is being called Hajj Tamattu'i, whereby we firstly perform Umrah, then we'll now remove our Ihram after Umrah and re-enters Ihram to perform Hajj. And what we do when we put on our ihram, that is the intention, the first thing we say is, Allahumma labbaika li umrah. I intend to perform umrah. When you say that, they will move you. The Hajj officials, they will move you into different buses that will take you from Jeddah to a place called Makkah. We call it Makkah al-Mukarramah. When you are in your buses, then you'll be saying the word talbiyah. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. Innal hamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk. La sharika la. This is the word that everybody will be saying. In fact, you'll be very happy when you're hearing this word. All over the world, they'll be saying the word talbiyah. And that talbiyah tells everybody that you are in the state of ihram, telling, oh Allah, that you have called me and I've come to answer your call. So with all this talbiyah, you continue saying this talbiyah until when you get to your hotel in Mecca. When you now get to your hotel in Mecca, you all move all your luggages from the buses and go to your hotels. When you get to your hotels, you drop all your luggages and move in a mass to Haram, that is the holy house, that is the Kaaba. You start the tawaf by leaving the Kaaba on the left side. Then while you are circumambulating, you do that 7 times. While you are doing that, you must be reciting or reading what we called Rabbana Atina fid dunya hasana wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhaban nar. So you'll be saying all this until you complete the second circumambulating the Kaaba. So when you finish that one 7 times, then you will now stand in a particular station called Maqam Ibrahim. Maqam Ibrahim is very close to Haram, the Kaaba. You perform 2 rakats there. The 2 rakats you are performing there, when you finish the 2 rakats, then you drink Zamzam. After taking Zamzam, if you are thirsty, if you are not thirsty, you proceed to perform what we call Sahi, hastening between Safa and Marwa. While you are doing this, Safa and Marwa, you do that 7 times. You start with Safa and end it in Marwa. So when you do this one, then at the end of the 7th one, you will now pray. When you say your prayers, then you now cut your hair. You just cut it small. Then when you do that, you will now go back to your hotel to remove your ihram. That shows you have completed your umrah.
When you say you cut your hair, what signifies the cutting of hair at that particular period?
Well, it is sunnah of the Prophet, because man fa'alaha naila sawaba. Anybody that does it will be rewarded. It is sunnah of the Prophet to do that. When we do that, we follow the sayings of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So by the time you do that one, then you look very neat again. That shows you have completed your umrah. Now, you have completed your umrah. You will now be there in Mecca attending 5 daily prayers until the 8th day of Zulhijjah. On the 8th day of Zulhijjah, that is the day that all intended pilgrims to the Holy Land, they will re-enter their ihram and have another intention. You don't forget, the first intention when you firstly landed in Mecca, in Jeddah, straight to Mecca, is what we call Umrah. You say that time, Labbaika Allahumma Umrah. This time around, the intention now, after he enters your ihram, you want to perform Hajj. Allahumma labbaik al-Hajj. Oh Allah, I intend to perform Hajj. All the intended pilgrims in Mecca, they will move in a mass to a particular place called Muna. And while they are doing that, the same talbiyah, they said that time, they will continue saying it. Labbaik Allahumma labbaik. Labbaik la sharika laka labbaik. Innal hamda wa ni'mata laka wal mulk. La sharika la. You keep on saying all this until you get to your tent in Muna. When you get to your tent in Muna, then you retire back to your tent. When it is time for prayer, all the 4 rakats will be shortened to 2. So you perform your Zuhr, Asri, Maghrib. It has to be the way it's supposed to be. That's 3. Then Isha, will be shortened to 2. Then on the 9th day of Zulhijjah, all intended pilgrims, they will move again from Muna to a particular place called Arafah. And that is why Prophet Muhammad said, Al-Hajju Arafah. All of them, even including those who are in hospitals, they must take them to Arafah. Because if you did not attend or move to Arafah on that very day, you have not performed the Hajj of that very year. They will tell you Arafah starts here. Anywhere they say Arafah starts here, you've entered Arafah. Not necessarily you go and stand where the white pillar of that Arafah is. So they will tell you Arafah covers a particular distance. FCT, for example, they have where they are. Ogun State, Lagos State, Akwa Ibom, all states of Nigeria, they have their different tents. And that's what brought about pre-Hajj visits that they do all the time is preparation. And you can now see that the preparation for this year has begun for a very long time. So that for effective, free Hajj from crisis, that will not have any problem. And that's why the preparation has started on a very notable ground. Now, while you are in Arafah, all intending pilgrims are expected to be supplicating to Almighty Allah until when it is time for Zuhur, they will call prayer once. Allahu Akbar, they will do that. Then the Imam will lead to combine Zuhur and Asri together the same time with 2 Iqama. When you finish that one, you do Salama. Then you rise again and do the other one. Then they will now leave all the intended pilgrims. Everybody will be saying his prayer the way you know it. Keep on praying, keep on praying, keep on praying. On that very day, Allah forgive all sins. And you now become somebody who has never sinned in their life. And you'll be hearing Hajj Mabrur. Congratulations for performing this year Hajj very successfully. It is not a fun fair. Because the reason why you need to work very hard, do you know whether you still go back there again? Any opportunity you see in Mecca, make use of it, utilize it very judiciously, very seriously, religiously. Make sure that you exhaust everything to talk to Allah. When it is time for all the intending pilgrims to leave Arafah for a particular place called Muzdalifah, they will leave maybe around 5:30, 6 like that, Nigerian time, for example. They will leave in a mass. If the bus is available, they will carry them. If it is not available, in fact, I know Nigerians are very religious, as I always say. You will see people trekking. They want to do the way Prophet did. You see them trekking, they will move from Arafah to Muzdalifah. When they get to Muzdalifah, that is where they will perform the Maghrib and Isha in combination of delay. So the one they firstly did in Arafah in combination of advance, whereby Zuhur and Asri were performed in Arafah together. But that of Muzdalifah, when they get to Muzdalifah, Maghrib and Isha will be performed in combination of delay. And when they perform it, they can stay there. It depends on the government of Saudi Arabia. If they can stay till following morning, fine. But if it is something they will move them in a mass because of the conjunction and crowd, then they can leave. If not, they can still stay there to perform the Subhi prayer and then move to a particular place called Jamra. Jamra, it is whereby they will do the stoning. The first stoning has to be with Jamratul Aqaba. And when you are doing the stoning, you pick 7 pebbles to be thrown at the bigger pillar, Jamratul Aqaba. You now say, Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. When you throw it 7 times, then for those who can move straight to Mecca after the stoning, they will go to Mecca to perform Tawaful Ifada. The Tawaful Ifada means Tawaful completions of Hajj rites. They will do the Tawaf 7 times. And they will now come back to Muna. And that is on the 10th day of Zulhijjah, the day of Eid al-Kabir all over the world. On the issue of Eid al-Kabir, the intended pilgrims as you are going, Jaiz Bank is doing it, other banks are still doing it, whereby you just pay your adaya, the money for ram, you pay it there, they will slaughter for you. There's no need of you saying you want to see my ram. Allah says, "Lan yanala lu'umuha wa la dima'uha." I don't need the flesh or the blood of that animal. وَلَكِنْ يَنَالُ تَقْوَى مِنْكُمْ. The fear of Allah in which you use in slaughtering matters. So by the time you do that one, you have performed your Hajj rite, and then you come back to Muna. You will not remove your ihram until you get back to Muna. When you now get back to Muna, that is the day of Eid al-Kabir. You will now remove your ihram that time and start wearing your normal clothes. You have completed your Hajj rite. Then you keep on praying. The second day, you will pick 777. You throw 7, that is 21. The first one pillar, the middle, and the last one. So 7 pebbles, the first one, then the middle one, and the last one. 7. Bismillah, Allahu Akbar. You do that to the 3 pillars. Then you turn back to Muna. You do the same thing on the 3rd day. And that is the day you are leaving Muna for Makkah, finally. So some can delay or stay to still do the 4th one. So the Pilgrims Board, they must arrange for those who have the intention of staying the 4th day so that they will do it, and then there is no sin on that. Then for those who have not done the Tawaf al-Ifada, they will go back to Haram and do Tawaf al-Ifada. Despite the fact that they've already removed their Ihram in Muna, since they have not performed their Tawaf al-Ifada, there is no need for them to re-enter their Ihram again. They will just go and perform the Tawaf al-Ifada and return back to their hotels. Awaiting the day they will now leave for Medina. When they are about to leave for Medina, they will now call them that they should go and perform Tawaf al-Wada'i. Tawaf al-Wada'i means farewell Tawaf. The Tawaf of saying bye-bye to the holy city of Mecca. Then you are now moving to Medina. When you now get to Medina, what do we do in Medina? Medina means visitation, ziyarah, historical places. One of the first historical places that we visited whenever we go there is number 1, Masjid al-Nabawi, Prophet Muhammad Mosque, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the most beautiful mosque all over the world. You see it, and then you will see a particular place called Rauda. Prophet says, between my mimbar, the pulpit, and Rauda, that is where paradise lies. And that's why you see the Muslim Ummah, they struggle to enter that Rauda. And whatever prayer you observe in Rauda, Allah answered the prayers immediately. My dear pilgrims to the Holy Land, it is very simple and easy for you to know that Hajj rites is an exercise that everybody wants to participate. It's an opportunity. Not everybody that comes to this world will have the opportunity to go there. Once that opportunity has been given to you, make sure you utilize it very well. Now, by the time you perform 2 rakats in Rauda, they will now move you to a particular place whereby you do salama to the Prophet Muhammad. Prophet Muhammad was buried in that place. Say, Assalamu alaikum, Ya Rasulallah. Sayyidina Umar and Sayyidina Abu Bakr. Those are the people that were buried there. Assalamu alaikum, Ya Ali. Assalamu alaikum, Ya Umar. Assalamu alaikum, Ya Abu Bakr. So you do salama to them and then move. Sayyidina Ali was not buried there in Medina or in that mosque. So by the time you finish that one, then you continue with some visitations.
We would like to inform you that your contributions are always welcome via our phone number 0708 255 2120. You may send an SMS or a WhatsApp message. You can also like our Facebook page, Hajj, a Spiritual Journey. We look forward to hearing from you. And with that, we conclude today's edition of Hajj, a Spiritual Journey. The program, sponsored by the National Hajj Commission of Nigeria, NACON, is broadcast every Friday at 4:30 in the evening. Join us next week at the same time for another edition of the program. Special thanks to the NACON crew, the head of media, Fatima Sanda Usara, and head radio, Suwaiba Ahmed. Thanks to the studio manager, Nuruddin Usman. On behalf of the production crew, Hamza Al-Khali, Fauziya Muhammad, Hadiza Abdul Rahman, and Hassan Hussein, I am Abubakar Bestu. Bye for now.
لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا